Hi, Muchismo Eugene. Welcome to another video from Exit Strategy. Please like, subscribe, share, give a thumbs up to this video if you found it helpful, and pass it on. If you believe someone else will benefit from it, I'd appreciate that. Let's talk about the accolades of man as opposed to self-appreciation. Self-appreciation as opposed to the accolades of man. I think every human being deals with this at some point or another in our life, whether we are conscious of it or not. Some of us, like myself for a long time, believed in and of myself that I could do without compliments, encouragement, people giving me well wishes, this, that, and the other. Because I, in my mind, believed that I was unlike most people that I saw that just seemed like they lived for someone to say, thank you, I appreciate that, this, that, and the other. Now, after waking up from a narcissistic personality disorder abuse, I now know that whether I believed that or not, it was really not a reality, because the accolades of man is embedded in the matrix type way that most of us, if not all of us, have been groomed to think, act, and behave and respond a certain way. So whether you deliberately, consciously look for the praise and accolades of man, it is somewhere deeply seated inside of your being. How do you go from becoming aware of that to just doing without it altogether? Take it or leave it, and being very conscious of that fact. How do you do that once you awaken? Isolation, education, and vibration. It goes back to the same thing I've said all along. The more time you spend with yourself, the less time that you the less you will have a need for the praise of man, the accolades of man, and you will be able to gauge in a real honest, sincere way of whether this is a reality, because this is the new reality. You want more so to not be around the hoopla, the gassing up, the amping up, the putting batteries in people's back. Once you awaken and become aware and in tune with this world, the way that it is operating, you take a standoffish point of view or standoffish observation to the world, and you see, man, everybody's going after this praise of man, the accolades of man. In the church, they're saying God, 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 but they really are looking for the praise of one another. Again, how do you combat this? Isolation, education, and vibration. You'll get to a point where you could care less if anybody visited you or you visited anyone else. Don't get me wrong. We're not talking about being so much a whole hermit, although hermit mode is a stage I would encourage everybody to kind of get used to, just to see if in fact you are that person can do it alone. And that do it part is deal with you. Deal with you, your insecurities, your strengths, your weaknesses, and your securities, and your confidence, and the things that you have confidence in. And for me, it's God. If nobody ever believed in me from this day forward, I believe in myself because God says he has put something in me that is his spirit that drives me to do the things that I do, notwithstanding what people say or how people feel, whether they give me their endorsement, whether they give me their validation. It is something just within you, the Holy Spirit, that drives you, that wakes you up, that makes you move in the way that you move. That's what makes you unique as a chosen one or an empath to begin with. So when you unlock the awareness of, I thought I didn't need people like that, but in a way, I think I was indoctrinated as well. Once you learn that this is a big factor in the way that this world is operating and you want no part of it, you're already going to stick out and stand out. You best believe people are going to look at you like you got 20 different heads. You're going to be looking like something that described in Revelations in the Bible. Because that's how weird you look to people who think that they are where they need to be. You know why? Why they looked at you with skepticism? Because you don't have any need for that validation. And in their mind, they're ready to grasp straws to call you better than somebody. You're thinking you're this, you're thinking you're that. It's amazing how people can explain away how you're behaving just by the fact that you're just existing. But they won't accept and call out and own their own behavior, which is wretched and ratchet and all things dark. So my point to this video is you have to understand isolation education in order to vibrate in a major, major way is going to be very, very vital to you understanding how much you need to be needed or the lack thereof. And this is how the narcissist got us. This is how the narcissist is hoodwinking society, making the world at large follow suit. As I look at the world and I look at certain occurrences that are happening right now, whether it's court trial or these high profile court trials and whatever stories, and it's been this way since long before the internet. It is just they're spoon feeding us, or they're force feeding us now. They were spoon feeding us back in the day. And that one little sensationalized story, people would talk about that for, I don't know, for a little while. But now the stories are they're so rampant, this story, that story. And what it does is it is force feeding our mind a lot of other people's business to the point where we can't focus on our life. And they sensationalize these things, and we look upon these things like these things really matter to us. If you've been through narcissist abuse, you don't care about that stuff. You really don't. You're just trying to navigate your way through this world day to day until such a time as God calls us home. And if you get to enjoy pieces and parts of life in a harmonious way, that's a bonus. But in this life, you're going to have trials, troubles like you wouldn't believe. And now you're awakened as an empath, chosen one. You see everything as it is. You can't play face anymore. You thought you didn't play face before, but you truly, truly not playing face now. You're essentially walking in a world that does not coincide with your values and your mindset. You're a foreigner. You're an immigrant. And you're a defector. 5 years ago, prior to waking up from narcissistic abuse, I would have thought somebody talking like this was the silliest, weirdest thing that, that I can imagine. And even now, some of us here find it hard to grasp some of the stuff that is being said. Take your time. In time, sit back and observe this world. You will see that all these things that I'm saying and other people are saying, they are making sense. It's just a matter of you coming to a point of accepting that this is what it is. Very undeniable. You cannot sit here and expect things to be something they're not. It is easier just to accept it the way it is, as hard as it is to stomach and accept the fact that most of how we lived all of our life, we have to relearn and think a whole different way now. We have to approach people a whole different way. It can be discouraging at times. But thank God you're awake, because if you hadn't been awake, or you were not awake, you would be still spinning your wheels, going along to get along, playing the game, all to end up empty-handed. Only difference is now you don't lose anything to begin with, because there's nothing to be gained following, in the rat race. But as I close, guys, I know this sounds like a dark cloud type video, but this is the upside of it. Empath chosen ones, we have great ideas. We are visionaries. We are movers and shakers of the world. Now this isolation time that you have to deal with you, think about how you're wired and how you're moving and how you want to move. Your ideals and your thoughts are going to become very, very clear. They're going to be very crisp and clean. They're not going to be clouded as they were when you were with the narcissist. Every time you would try to have a train of thought, they would come along and break your train of thought. They can sense when you're in deep thought or concentrating. Because if you're quiet around them for an extended amount of time, they panic because they're thinking that you're on to them, when you really truly just trying to think about what you got to do from this moment to the next, such as we all should. So you are able to really just hone in on your giftings. And a lot of us are talking about the 9 to 5, to hell with it. A lot of us don't know exactly what we want to get into, but we know it's not the 9 to 5. Because we don't want to play that game either. Living in a world where you work for a company, you're either being idly threatened, underhanded backstabbing, trying to compete with other people who are brown nosing when really all you're doing is a good job, and you get passed over for promotions. The list goes on and on and on. So, like I say, as opposed to it sounding like a dark cloud, this is the upside of it, guys. Use this time in your isolation and education to use your mind in a way, and exercise your mind in a way of thinking about some things you had not thought about before, because you had so many other distractions, namely the narcissist. So think about this, and if there is something that you've always thought about doing, I think you should, this is a perfect time to take a chance on it. Take a chance on it. You can never fail you. You can never fail you, because your expectations of yourself are realistic. Looking back at that relationship or the relationship you was in, you were really in competition, or they were in competition with you, and you found yourself thinking, you guys had similar goals. You were going the same direction, but they were pulling you down every step that you made. You just didn't know it. And a lot of times you did know it. They would give you some sideways comment, and that would debilitate you. That would ruin your spirit. It would crush your hopes. And so every time they thought or felt like you were going to get somewhere in life in a good way or progress, they somehow or another found a way to distract you and intercept that type of thinking. So this is a perfect time for you in your isolation. Hone in on those things that you've always wanted to do. Take a chance on them. This is your time. That being said, bless.